What's up, Oasis Church, Oasis friends and family? If you are new here, we want to welcome you to our Super Bowl Sunday service. We're doing something a little bit different. Just because it is Super Bowl Sunday, we want you to be able to enjoy this time with your friends and family. But we want to welcome you to our service, to our experience. We hope you get a little glimpse of what we do on a every Sunday basis. But help us, join us in worship, enjoy where you're sitting, grab your coffee, grab a snack, grab some breakfast before the game, and enjoy this worship set with Oasis Church.
To come and rescue, I enter into a place where it's you alone. I feel you, Lord, set me free. That's what I'm here for. I want to love you, adore you, worship you for always, always. I come as I am, Lord, here I am, I need you. Truly real, I want you. I come as I am, Lord, here I am, I need you. If this what I feel is truly real, I want you. I come as I am, Lord, here I am, I need you. What I feel is truly real, I want you. I come as I am, Lord, here I am, I need you. If this what I feel, if this what I feel is truly real, I want you. I cry to you, hear me, Lord. That's what I'm here for. I want to love you, adore you, worship you for always, always. We will sing hallelujah till you come again. Jesus, and we'll dance in your presence till you come again. We will sing hallelujah till you come again, and we'll dance in your presence till you come again. We will sing hallelujah till you come just wanna be with you. King of glory, fill this place. I just wanna be with you. I just wanna be with you. Say, King of glory, King of glory, fill this place. I just wanna be with you. I just wanna be with you. Say, King of glory, King of glory, fill this place. I just wanna be with you. I just wanna be with you. So we'll sing hallelujah, sing hallelujah, till you come again. Oh, we'll dance in your presence. We'll dance in your presence till you come again. Come on, can anyone sing? We will sing hallelujah till you come again. And we'll dance, yes, we'll dance in your presence till you come again. The highest praise, we will sing hallelujah till you come again. We'll dance, yes, we'll dance in your presence till you come again.
Hello, everybody. This is Pastor Gabe here with Oasis Church, and we want to greet you this Super Bowl Sunday. I know you're at home. Some of you are seeing this very early in the morning. Some of you are going to wait till later in the day. Doesn't matter. We're just glad to have you here with us today. We are here today with a group of friends from our church family, and we have Fred, we have V&A, and we have Gloria. And we're here because we, at the beginning of the year, just really felt like we needed to launch 2019 in a way that really meant to bring hope. And you can't bring hope without actually going to take it to somebody. You can't go take hope to somebody, or bring hope, as we like to say it, without becoming a person that's outward focused. It's about outward loving, outward giving. A lot of times we'll just continue to look, especially at the beginning of the year, at ourselves going, what am I going to do? What am I going to fulfill? What are my goals? What are my resolutions? But in order to bring hope through a new life in Jesus Christ in the city of Visalia and South Valley, we have to be selfless, not selfish. It's about giving my life. We've always said, less of me, more of him. Less of me, more of what he loves, and that's people. So we finished Selfless as a series, and I wanted to just gather a group of folks that were there, were able to experience our Sunday experiences, and hear the messages, hear the talks on Sunday, and just kind of get a feel for what did this do to them? I was going to say to you. You may have joined us as well, and so maybe you can kind of relate to what maybe they're going to share. What this theme did in Selfless, what did it mean to you? And just to kind of jump right in here with you guys today, I'm just going to kind of ask you a couple questions. Just kind of, let's just talk. Don't worry about who's looking, what's going on. We're just here to talk and just kind of learn from each other. And then maybe in the course of that, whoever is listening, whoever is watching, they maybe can relate to a little bit of what is being said. Okay. Not everybody knows us. I'm Pastor Gabe. You're probably already aware of that. And I come from a background of church. I come from a background that was raised in this whole arena of ministry. My father's a pastor, and all my families are ministers and pastors. And so this was kind of something that I thought I knew about. However, as I was getting raised, got into leadership, and of the church, I really started to understand that there was so much more in walking with Jesus than I'd ever imagined. I tell people that I didn't really become a Christian, a follower of Jesus Christ, till after I became a pastor. Because up until that point, it was really, for me, just church. And so that's kind of my story. Just my family and I were on this journey together, learning what it is to be selfless. And just so that the folks that are watching us today might get a better understanding of who you are, I'm just going to kind of ask you, we'll just go around. Tell us a little bit about who you are, just so they kind of get a feeling of who's Gloria, who's Fred, who's V&A. Tell us a little bit about your background. Where were you born, maybe raised? A little bit about maybe your background. Was church part of your life all the time? Do you have children? That kind of thing. We'll start off with Fred. Tell us just a little bit about yourself, Fred.
Well, my name is Fred, of course. I live here in Visalia. I was born and raised here in Visalia. I was raised in church pretty much. Visalia Apostolic True Tabernacle. Real awesome church, old school. And then for a while, fell astray as a teenager. And then really just kind of got back into it now. For like a year now, probably.
Good deal. Children?
Yeah, I got 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl.
Cute kids. And so you were pretty much from Visalia. Have you ever left?
No,
You're groomed right here,
I haven't even been out of the state.
Right on. Gloria, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background.
I kind of grew up in church too, but I was kind of like a church hopper. Like I was looking for something that I couldn't find, and so I would just keep going to different churches. I stay there for a little while. I felt something for a while, and then it would just like fade off, and I was like, nah, this isn't for me. So then I stopped going to church for a while because I couldn't find what I was looking for, and then I started coming here, and
good deal.
I feel great.
Wonderful. You have kids?
I have 3 kids.
3 kids. What are their ages?
I have a son. His name's Fabian. He is 13. He's my
13 going on 30?
No. He's the one that really tests my patience.
All right.
The one I really got to pray for. Then I got Alexis and Ava. And Alexis, she's 11, and Ava's 8.
Good deal. V&A.
My name's Renee. I was born and raised in church. I would say I'm technically first generation of my family to be in church. Kind of started with my parents, but they didn't start in church. I think they were Catholic before they moved here. Was basically raised in Washington State. Moved here, what is it now, 2 years ago? 2 years ago now. After I got married, so going on 3 years married now.
All right.
No kids yet, but yeah.
People don't know this, but we had to go from California all the way to Washington State just to find Aaron, my son, his bride.
Right?
So if anybody's needing to find that companion, Washington State. Okay, Washington State. Okay. The thing about our faith journey, I have found that a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people, it takes something to happen that catches their attention. There's something that goes on, a crisis, something is said. It could be someone losing a loved one, or something kind of just, boom, something goes down, and all of a sudden we're like, whoa, I need somebody higher than me. I need help. I need, and so was there anything that happened? What made you have that moment where saying, you know what, I need God? What was that? You remember? Anyone could just jump right in.
I got a whole list.
A whole list of things? Okay.
But I thought about that for a minute, and I think out of all of it, it was like almost like I was just missing something.
Just feeling empty.
And yeah, I was feeling real empty, and I think you find other things and other ways to kind of fill the void, but in the end, it wasn't fulfilling. Pretty much,
Yeah.
And now being back in church and actually like putting my all into this and trying to grow, it's been a whole different experience. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. But what got your attention?
Man. My life was just a hot mess. I was a hot mess. It wasn't even really my life. I grew up in foster care. Just, I think I had a breaking point where I was very suicidal. I felt like no one loved me because being in foster care, you'd get used to like one family and then they just move you for no reason. And so then I figured, why even allow these people to be a part of my life if I'm just going to leave anyways? So for a point in my life, like I was very like suicidal, couldn't find my own self-worth, and so I went to church with somebody, and it wasn't for me. I was like, well, if there really is a God, then how is He allowing all these bad things to happen to me? Like, I feel like I'm a good person. Like, so why is this my situation like this? And so then, as a parent, I just a couple years ago, I got really super depressed. Like, I couldn't get out of it. Everything was just, it was ugly. I didn't know what was wrong with me. And so then I told God, I'm tired, Lord. I'm tired. Like, I want to be a good parent. I want to do all the things that I'm supposed to do, but at the same time, like, I'm tired and I can't do it without you. And I've noticed that over the years that my life was better with you. And so that's what it was for me.
Right on, right on. Fiona, what, if anything, what caught your attention?
I think for me, because like I said, I was born and raised in church. So obviously Sundays came around and it was something that you had to do. Mm-hmm. So aside from having to do it, because obviously you had to obey your parents and going, so my mom would drag us. I was involved in ministry really early, I think since I was like 11 years old, playing and singing. But it almost became a job for me having to do it.
All right.
It wasn't something that I was wanting to do because I felt the call to do it,
Yeah.
So I think after a while, once I don't know what it was, where it was just kind of a breaking point for me. I don't know if I just went through something or I just got out of a funk where it didn't become my job anymore. It was because I knew it was something that I was called to do, that it was something for me that I had to do. I think, again, growing up in it, you were put into fear of, if you don't do it, you're going to hell. And just going through that, it's like, why? Then you're just going out of fear, So it wasn't because of something that I loved to do. And I think going through, I guess, that funk, where I finally came out of that to say, no, this is like my job. This is what I'm called to do. Where I was now explained further on other things that I was like, oh, that makes sense, So it was where I got out of that. And
I can so relate to that. Going through the motions, going to church because you were forced to. I said one day, and I've heard it said before, is I was a drug baby. Because I was dragged to church. I was drugged to church, just like you're going whether you like it or not. And you begin to just do the things because that's just what's expected of you. You might be able to relate a little bit. You just kind of just go through the motions, right? Yeah. And so I want to jump into this next section here about selfless. Because like I mentioned just a bit ago, I really feel like as a young church, as a young group of believers, as folks just kind of starting, for many of us, just starting the journey, whether it's restarting, whether it's saying, you know what, I don't know much about this whole ministry or church or Jesus thing, but I want to learn, I want to go, and I want to grow. And so really felt like 2019 was the year to really introduce Selfless, because many people have goals that they set, New Year's resolutions, weight loss, get out of debt, want to work on my relationships, going to work on my faith journey. And so we talk about selfishness, or being selfish, how that's just kind of something common for us. We don't think about it. No one taught us that. We just naturally look out for me. Our culture feeds into that so much. It's like, get yours, right? You're on your grind, and we see that all the time. It's just, what's going to satisfy me? That's not bad in and of itself. But when we live a life that is all about me, we easily forget that there's something greater than me, which is God ultimately. And then leaving my world, the world I live in, the world you live in, a better place than when we arrived. It affects everything. It affects people around us, our loved ones. It affects our world, our culture, even people we don't know. So I want to ask a couple of questions regarding selfless, as that is our introduction for our church this year. When you begin to hear the introduction, or maybe your mind can kind of replay this whole thing, when you hear the word selfless, we promoted it going into that for a week or two, saying, hey, it's coming, new series, beginning of the year, selfless. What thoughts came to your mind when you just heard the word, okay, pastor's going to start preaching on this thing called selfless? What maybe came to your mind, or what thoughts did you have when you heard that?
Just doing for others.
Okay. Doing for others.
Not being all about yourself.
Okay. Pretty self-explanatory. Was there anybody that had a different thought about that?
No, that's pretty much what I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
Less of oneself.
Less.
Just more intense, I think, and more informational, right? Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I'm looking for.
So we covered 4 areas in this whole selfless series. The first week we talked about being bold in our witness, which is kind of a fancy term for being more courageous in sharing our faith. Okay. And then the second week we introduced a topic about serving of ourselves, giving of ourselves, and serving our fellow man, and how that when we serve others, we're serving Christ. And that serving isn't something that we just do. We have a servant's heart. And the third week, we talked about kind of a topic that I think for many is not a real popular thing, because it really stretches us at our core. And it was a subject of giving. And the topic simply was extravagant in generosity. Talked about not only how sometimes we, and when I say we, the majority of our culture lives from what we call the bag mindset. How we grind it out, and we're working and we're putting stuff in that bag, trying to pay our bills, and we're working and working, yet it seems like there's a hole in the bag. Okay? And we could just never seem to get ahead. Then we talked about learning to give to God, and then ultimately putting Him first with our finances. And I know that kind of talks about other things we can be giving with, but it really was about that thing that I think for us is really personal, is finances. And so that was, again, a topic that I found a little bit challenging, simply because it's not a real sexy thought to talk about. It's like, okay. And, we have a culture that says, oh, church is all about money.
Right.
Give me your money.
Yeah, exactly. And so we really are very cautious about that in the way we collect our Sunday offerings or donations. And we don't make a big deal about it. We just teach it from a standpoint of this is our duty.
Yeah.
And the fourth, which was this last Sunday, we closed it all up. We packaged it all up and closed off Selfless with the thought of let me see if I can remember what I talked about on Sunday. It was simply how how can I put it? Serving God, walking this line of faith, living a life of selflessness instead of selfishness is something we ultimately have to do. We do, but we don't do it just for the sake of. There's a legacy. I finished off the message kind of talking about your legacy, okay, and how we don't do it just because it's the thing we do. It's to honor God, and the premise of the whole talk on this last Sunday was about honoring God in everything we do. Okay, everything we do for His honor, for His glory. Everything we do do it to the glory of God. Even if we find ourselves in situations that are bleak, are challenging, and they're not even exciting to be in. I'm going through a tough time in my marriage and my finances and at the work. I don't enjoy this season of my life. How we're not supposed to complain And we won't complain when we have the thought, I'm doing it for him.
Yeah.
So my question here, of all those 4 weeks, which one do you feel like hit you personally the most, and why? It's kind of a personal question, but I'm asking you to share. And I mean, anyone can start, no matter.
Okay, cool. I think there was 2 of them that I liked, but the one that hit me was being a servant, because like I think it was the week before. Yeah, it had to be the week 2 weeks before, but it was like heavy on my heart and my mind. So I prayed about it. I was like, what's next now? Because I started to get that feeling of being stagnant, kind of thing,
Gotcha.
And I started wondering. So I prayed. I was like, what's next now? Where do I go from here? And then literally come Sunday, it's like, bam, be a servant, It's like, wow. I was like, hey, that's pretty good. I'll take that.
Right.
So yeah, that was a good one for me. And then was it either the grateful grind or the generosity, where we talked about first fruits and tithing and stuff like that.
Yeah, those are the generosity.
And that was an eye opener for me too, to have it explained in full context, I guess, and really know, what it's not just, hey, give me your money and give me the first of your money and stuff like that. It's like, everything behind it, the whole story behind it, not just from our day, from back then, It was like, it was mind blowing for me. I was like, wow.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? What was some of the favorite? Thank you so much. What were your favorites, and why? How did you relate to that?
Mine was grateful on the grind. I like that one because sometimes we do things that just because we have to. Like, we don't do them out of love. Like, we just do them. Like, oh, I'm gonna do this for you, but you're not doing it because you have a servant's heart. You're doing it just because you have to.
Yeah.
And so I just like that one because I felt like it's showing you a different mindset. Like, when you do things, do it with love. Do it because you care about them. Just don't do it just because then you're not really getting the blessing that you should get from that.
Yeah. V&A.
Yeah, I would say they were kind of all my favorites.
They can't all be your favorites.
They were,
if she
the thing
says
with
they
me,
could be.
yeah, I'm that one person.
Right?
Because of the fact that I'm the type of person, I like preachings that will make you think. And if it gets to you to that, oh, I'm offended, I'm like, okay, that was good.
Yeah, right.
You got me. I'm sorry.
Like he's talking to me.
Yeah, dang it. So I would say being bold is one that I was like, okay, because I would say I try not to be so much of a selfish person. Like, I always try to think of others in everything that I do. But when it came to being bold, it's like, oh, okay, now you don't want to say something, or you don't want to talk about God with other people and things like that because you don't want to offend and this and that. And I'm like, okay. But I did like Grateful in the Grind too, because everything that I've always learned is just saying, are you going to praise him through the good stuff and the bad stuff? Are you going to be grateful for not just the wins, but the losses? And which is something that I've always kept in mind. Like, yeah, if you're struggling, for example, financially or whatever, thank you. I have $1 in the bank. Woo! I got $1.
Right.
Right.
It's not in the negatives. So I think it's just always being grateful in that and everything that you do. But yeah, that was mine. Being faithful in finances and everything too. Yeah.
Awesome. You say, well, I like them all or whatever. As a communicator and trying to share my heart in a way that's compelling, in a way that's inspiring, motivating, and also challenging, because it's not just about just saying, okay, tell us something. Oh, that's great. It sounded nice. It was inspiring. Jesus. Right? All that. But what can we do so that when we walk away from there, we can actually start living it out? And for me, I think when you talk about the giving one, I had a personal issue with that, only because of, as a leader, not trying to send a mixed signal of this is what we're all about, because we're not. but I also have a responsibility to share a balanced menu
Yeah.
Right.
of the word. You know, we can laugh and play and have a good old time about Jesus saving us and him dying on the cross, but it doesn't stop there. It's about growing, and especially when we talk about selflessness, it's about taking it to a whole nother level of not me, and so countercultural, so against what society.
And I think what I like too is the fact that because so many people come to church and because they want to make it about themselves, of I'm going through this, so God heal me, or
Gotcha.
I'm going through this, so God do this for me. And I think because it was selfless and turning into something like, okay, he's giving you everything, now put it in return.
Yeah.
You know, so it was that for me, it was different, because it's like every time it's like you want to come to church and it's like, oh, I had such a hell of a week, and I'm just waiting for God to give me something. But it's like, no, now you put it back too.
Yeah.
You
That's
know?
true.
And that whole thing, it like literally changed the way that I pray, because I started noticing every time I pray, it's like, Lord, I need strength, and
Yeah.
I need this, but I never started off with like being thankful,
Right.
and that changed the whole game for me.
Yeah, that's good to hear, and I appreciate you sharing that, because it helps someone who was raised with a lot of inferiority complexes, a lot of low self-esteem, and so having done this all my life, as I mentioned, you get easily into a habit of want to just help people feel good and inspire and motivate, and I do always try and do that. But to hear, even when you're challenged with the word,
Right.
for you to go, ooh, and you said a little bit ago, that hurt, but it hurt good. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's pretty
It's like
amazing.
that ouch.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because that's
okay.
going to help. And I know,
I got it.
Right.
I know, and I've been trying to avoid it and just kind of ignore that it didn't exist. But okay, boom, now
Yeah.
I'm left with this reality. How am I going to deal with
It's
it?
like a parent. You have to discipline,
Yeah.
and you have to say things in a way that needs to be said. And it might hurt at first, but then when you think about it, like, dang, like that was good. Like I really needed that. Like thank you for having my back on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think of my mom right away, because when you're growing up and they tell you, I told you not to, da da da. I know, Mom. Like I would always tell her, I know, Mom. Okay, then why do you keep doing it? And it's the same thing.
Right.
You're not supposed to. You're supposed to be giving. I know. But you're supposed to. I know. And then you don't.
You still do your own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty exciting time. I saw a shift in the attitude. I saw the shift in emotion. I saw the shift in. I mean, even there was a time where I mentioned the phrase, turn around and tell somebody it's not about you. And people got a kick out of that. It was like, because it's like the first time I get to say that to somebody.
I literally got a kick out of it. It's not about you, babe.
I got to tell my mom it's not about you.
Right? It's like I wanted to tell you this for a long, long time.
Right? Like, calm down.
Oh man, that's hilarious. So, turning a little bit, focusing on week number 2 was about becoming and developing a servant's heart, serving your fellow man, giving of yourself, either volunteering and sharing your gift, and just developing. Again, serving isn't something that we just do. Oh, I volunteer in the church. So many people do that. And if you're looking at this and if you're not volunteering, we need you to volunteer.
Right.
But it's not just about volunteering. It's about bringing a heart that says it's not just doing something, it's about being something. And there was a time in the middle of the message, and I think even it's on Facebook or YouTube or something like that, that there was a moment where I called Art up. He wasn't expecting it, but he got a chair, came up, and I had him sit on the stage. And there was a point where I was illustrating how Jesus knelt down at the feet of Peter, and was really, because these guys were arguing about who was the greatest and who was going to be at the right hand and who was going to do all this stuff. And they were talking about me, selfishness, selfish. What am I going to do? Who's it? Is it me? Is it me? Is it me? And Jesus kind of just cut to the chase, put a towel around his arm, knelt down, and I literally knelt down. There was a moment I was going to actually take off Art's shoe. So let's get this really go at it.
Let's go max on this one.
My question to you is, when you saw that visually, and maybe put in your mind that Jesus, we know him to be the Son of God. We know him to be all of that. He knelt down at this man's feet and began to wash them. And then at one point, Peter says, hey, no. This ain't right. I ain't going to have you do this.
Yeah.
Jesus says, Peter, if you don't, you haven't gotten it yet.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, he says, Peter, if you don't let me wash your feet, you don't have a part of me, because I am a servant. That's the point. So my question is more so, when you saw that, did anything go on in your head? Did anything kind of, what ran through your heart, through your emotions, when you saw Pastor Gabe kneel down and in the mind maybe think that was Jesus at Peter? What went on through your mind about that, if anything?
I kind of thought that was amazing because, like, it's God.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, just like going back to how, like, you complain about things you do for others, and God, he's God. So he knelt down and he cleaned his feet. And to me, it was just like an amazing, just to see, like, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was being a true servant.
Yeah, it opened my mind like that too. Like, you think God, you think almighty, powerful, and then to imagine that he just got down and started cleaning Peter's feet, it's like.
And I try to make it
right.
like visual. It's like, because feet were all jacked up. You got to know that.
Yeah.
They weren't pedicured on a normal basis.
That just shows you that God was selfless also. Like,
Yeah. The ultimate sign was him giving himself, right? Giving his son. But to see, God kneel down before a man that at the end of the day he created.
Like, you already did so much for us, and then you're going to do
Yes.
that. Like, that was like, wow.
I think in my perspective, it was also the way of no one is above anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone
That's a good
has a
one.
part.
That's
I like
good.
that.
That's good.
So just everyone's on the same team. Everyone has a part.
Yeah.
No one else is more important than the other person. Because even Jesus himself wasn't even like, I'm the GOAT, forget y'all. you know? But I'm going to get down, I'm going to be selfless and wash your feet.
I like that.
Because there's no anyone above anyone else.
I remember being raised in a really religious environment where they would actually take times throughout the year and celebrate communion, but they would also do what they call foot washing service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did that.
Where the men would go off with the men, the women with the women, and they would wash each other's feet as a picture of exactly what we're talking about here, to say, I'm not above you. That pastors, ministers, church leaders were washing the feet of members and members to the pastor. And it was so, I remember, so humiliating, so humbling, I guess is a better word.
Mm-hmm.
So cool.
Humbling to be able to say, okay, no one would just wake up in the morning because, you know what, I feel like washing somebody's feet. It just doesn't happen that way. And to be a part of that. And I know that's not really practiced much anymore. Mm-hmm. You never know. Oasis may turn a page.
Get into these. You can watch my feet.
I don't know. Yeah, bring out the sandblasters and the...
Right?
So we've come to the end of this series. And kind of gone on this journey together. And for the people watching us today and having even maybe have attended our services at Oasis Church for this series, if you can take a moment and share, how did Selfless impact you? You may have already kind of alluded to it or mentioned it, but how did Selfless affect you as a person? How do you feel it changed you? How did it influence you? What were the effects of it?
It changed my mindset, like just the way I was thinking about stuff. Like, I was doing stuff for people, but was I really doing it with like all my heart? And so it really it changed my mindset. And now, like, when I pray for the members of the church. I pray for other people. It's not always like, God, me. And I like that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I would say for me, in the way of not just walking the walk, but talking the talk. Changing, just being selfless, being more, because I was even thinking, I think in a way, people just, time is another one where people are like, won't serve as much because they don't have time or they don't want to put in the time.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Or, so I think of it like, am I putting enough time as I'm supposed to be, you know, or because I want my personal time or my me time to where no, I don't want to do that, you know. So just putting enough time into it to actually be a servant, to actually be more selfless, to care for other people, maybe hang out with more people or something like that.
Yeah, you talk about going like the extra mile and not go, oh, that's good enough.
Yeah.
And just kind of move on to the next thing because this is good enough. No, could more attention to detail happen? Yeah, because it is about people and it's about giving more. I got you. That's good. Thank you. That's good. Fred, anything there you want to add to that?
No, it humbled me in a way to, you know, when I get my mic there and I think about it, you know, just to imagine that Jesus was cleaning feet like that, you know, it humbled me a lot, you know. Like, you know, for instance, last week I went to a store to cash my check, and there's I don't know if he's homeless, but you know, a dude out there asking for money, and he asked me for $1, and I did that thing where I was like, yeah, no, I was like, what did I tell him? Like, oh no, not yet. And I kind of like Scrooge. I kind of did like Scrooge. I was just like, no, not yet. Yeah. And I actually like stopped. I had to stop. I was like, oh man, you know. I turned around and apologized to the guy. I was like, hey, you know, my bad. I shouldn't have said that. So, you know, let me cash my check, dude. When I come out, I have something for you. And it was like, I felt way better after apologizing.
Yeah. Isn't it that way though? When you know you've done the better, that you could have easily just walked away, but when you actually do that, and you know that it was a God thing, right? Because if it was just us, we would have just moved on, not put in all that effort and detail.
That's true.
And it's so satisfying to be able to give like that. So as we end our time here today, we'll give you an opportunity. If you have any thoughts, anything that you feel like our audience, the folks that are watching here today, is there any message or any words you would like to share? Just even if it's not about Selfless series, or maybe it is. Maybe just something that maybe as we prepared to meet here today, that you would say, I would really want to make sure that people understand this, or anything that you want our viewers to walk away from having spent time with us these several moments listening in. Is there any specific thing that comes to your mind that you would like them to walk away from today?
Just telling them that they are enough. That sometimes you go through stuff in life and you feel like you're not enough, but God loves you so much that you are enough. And it might seem like it's a lot to deal with at the time, but He really does got your back. Like, just situations that I've been through, like, and now I'm feeling the blessings of it when it seemed like it was so hard, the struggle was so hard, I was never gonna smile again, and He does it. He's selfless. Like, it's just amazing when you think about what he can do for you. Like, man, that's awesome.
You can smile again. That's awesome to hear. My gosh. And if anyone who knows Gloria has like the biggest smile in the world, so it's awesome to know that.
But I could have a fake smile too. Like, I could smile and just be like, and everybody would think I was happy. But that's what God gave me back. Like, He gave me my real smile back. Because I can smile for anything. But this, like, my smile now is genuine. It's like, and it comes from Him. It's just awesome. Like, you're enough. God loves you. If you don't know Him, find Him.
Yes. Thank you. Anybody else?
I just like to add something about the church. You know, it's the thing I like about Oasis is we're able to grow and we're able to learn, and it's I was raised in church, but I honestly don't know everything about the Bible. I think I made it halfway through too. So like coming to church, I kind of you get the feeling like you need to be at a certain level kind of deal. But when we came to Oasis, it wasn't that at all. It was like a whole big array of just learning, nonstop learning. It ain't just come in and get a motivational service going real quick, whoop whoop, and then go home. It's like you get something out of it every time, and I mean, what you get out of it too. Sometimes, to me, it like makes you want to go look more. I start picking out certain things that maybe I want to look into this more. honestly, that's just like, that's what I like the most, I think, out of all of them.
Good.
Well, thank you. Fine.
Um, I just kind of like what Gloria said. You know, you're enough. You're loved. I know me growing up in church and everything. There's been so many times that I could have just left or just been like, nah, forget it. This isn't for me or something. But there's been so much things that has happened for me not to do that because of the fact that he has been there. I'll see him do it again for everything.
Yeah.
Right?
So because it's not your time, it's God's time. So if you are looking for something, hope. Yeah, come to resist. It's true.
Well, you guys, we've come to the end of our time here today, and I just want to thank you so much for sharing your time, your thoughts, not only with me, but with all of our watchers and hearers today that are going to hear this, not only in our own church family, but as it extends beyond that may be something they heard, something that you said, and something that you shared would resonate with them. At the end of the day, it's about bringing hope through a new life in Jesus.
Amen.
And we're all on this journey together. We're all imperfect. We're all broken. We're all needing, as someone said, we need some Jesus. But to know that I'm walking alongside each of you and you with me, and we're not judging each other. We're not looking down because maybe you aren't as far along in this area as I am, or back and forth. It's where are you at, and how can I help you become better, and vice versa.
Yeah.
To be a better version not only of ourselves and our faith, but to leave our world in a better place than we arrived at.
Right.
I just want to, as we close here today, just encourage you all to know that you are enough, and living life for yourself can be done, but at some point it does leave you empty. It leaves you void. And until we learn to really reach beyond ourselves, we're on a mission to love Visalia back to life. We're on a mission at Oasis Church to continue to bring hope through a new life in Jesus. If we can help you in any way, we're here to help you along that journey. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. We hope that you have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy the game. God bless.